Hey guys, welcome back to my Colourful Country Life. It is time today for my August completed pages video, and I have completed 10 pages this month. I actually haven't coloured as much this month as I usually do, so I'm actually a little bit surprised by that number. But let us move this all out of the way and we can get straight into it. First up, I have the beautiful new book Enchanted Creatures by Lolita Aya, and I'll just zoom you all in. Okay, so the page I coloured, I've lost my bookmark, there it is. This was the page that I coloured here, page 50, The Fascinating Tale of a Fox, and I enjoyed every minute that I spent colouring this page. I could not have hoped for a better result. I love the autumnal palette. I think it really suits the page. And the paper in this book is actually brilliant to work with. I do have a review of this book up on the channel if you're interested in seeing a flip through. And I coloured this page to test out the paper, so there's no colour along for this page. I do hope to get some time to do a colour along in this book soon though, hopefully in September, if not maybe October. I do know some people struggle with how to colour the Zendoodle design, so I think it would be fun to colour another page in the book together this time, and I can show you how I tackle the Zendoodles, and hopefully that'll be helpful. So I have used Prismacolor pencils for the entire page, and you can see with the Zendoodles here, I've just coloured over it with my gradient, with my combo, instead of paying any attention to the little details. I've also used some Pen Touch Gold pen, and hopefully that is coming across on screen. So I've outlined the butterfly with it, and also all these little gold dots that are on the page as well. There's also glossy accents on the butterfly wings and the fox's eyes. And then I've just used my Toolie Art paint pens, just in some assorted colours, just to cover some black lines and also to add some highlights and stuff to the page as well. Overall, it was a pretty simple page. I didn't use too many mediums. Back to my roots of just Prismacolors, just Prismacolor pencils for the entire page. I do really love this page. It's probably one of my favourites that I've coloured, and I enjoyed every minute of this page. And this paper is just really beautiful to work on. So this is one that I was thinking maybe for a colour along, the owl, and then there was another one, I think it was a butterfly, off the top of my hand. That one? Might have been that one. I do like the bee as well. That would be fun. We've done some honeycomb before. Yeah, I think it might have been, yeah, the butterfly. So the butterfly or the owl. Maybe I'll see what I can do for September. September's a busy month, so maybe possibly October, but we'll see where we can go from there. But that is The Fascinating Tale of a Fox from Enchanted Creatures, which is the new book and the first book by Lolita Aya. Next up, let's take a look at my very favourite Lulu Mayo book, A Million Sea Creatures. And I actually coloured 2 pages in this book this month and turned them into maybe a bit of a double page spread, basically just matching the colour palette on both pages here. So the left hand side, there is a colour along up on the channel. I wanted this picture to be bright and bold and even a little bit maybe cartoony. And I used Prismacolor pencils for pretty much the entire page. There is some Jelly Roll metallic in gold outlining the rainbow here. We have the sea foam on the top of the waves. I used the white gold paint from Lightwish, and the rest of the paint on this page, the gold, the magenta on the dolphins and the blue on the waves, that is all from KJ, designed by Karen. Metallic paints. Look at that shine. So pretty. I love this magenta color as well. Just beautiful colors. It's so shiny. That is the color Golden. If you ask Karen, I know a few people have asked Karen for the palette that she sent me. And there's a review of that palette up on my channel, and in that you'll also see me using them on this page as well. But if you have a look at that palette and you like the colors, speak to Karen. You can message her through her Etsy or her Instagram, and she can put the same palette together for you guys. I know she has done that for a couple of people, and the colors are beautiful. It was just missing this sort of silvery color, so that's why I used the white gold from Lightwish as well. Also, any video that I do mention today, I will link in the video description if you want to go check them out. Now, for the right side, I did bring across the same color palette. So I used the same colors for the dolphin and for the waves as well. The green combo here is from the boat, and this orange combo, I took some of the colors from the sky, so I kind of took out the red, the darkest colors, and then took out the lighter colors as well, and used those sort of in-between colors to create the orange for the starfish here. So if you have a look at that color along and you just take out the darker and the lighter colors and just pick 3 or 4 from the middle, that's what I did for the starfish. Otherwise, all the colors are exactly the same. Now for the background here, I did use the Deco Art Dazzling Metallics paint in red, and that's really shiny too. I think there's 2 coats of that on the background, and hopefully you can see all the glitter from all those paints as well. So the same paints that I used on this page as well. There's also white Twilly Art paint pen as well, used on both of these pages for all those little dots. And I think that's it. I really do love this double page spread, or 2 single pages that I've matched. I love how they turned out. This is my favorite Lulu Mayo book, like I mentioned before, and I have colored quite a few pages in this book. Yeah, so I think there will probably be some more pages from this book come in as well. So let me know if you want any more colour alongs. But I am really enjoying colouring these pages. And I love how they turn out. And I love that we can use so many mediums in Lulu's books. It's just really fun. Next up is A Circle of Life by Melpomene Chatsapanagottu. And I'll just zoom you out a touch. Okay, so I completed a double page spread in this book this month, and this is the pages that we did as a colour along. Now, I mentioned in an earlier video that I had bypassed this page a few times. I didn't think it was a page I would like to colour when I was flipping through the book. Now, I do love pretty much all the pages in this book, but this one, when I first looked at it, and a few times as I was flipping through, I thought it might be a little bit boring. But I was actually drawn to it last month and thought it would be a really relaxing page to colour. Mostly as there aren't too many different elements, which funnily enough is what was putting me off from colouring it in the first place. So tastes obviously have changed, and I was right. I did find it really relaxing to colour as well. So I based everything except for the sky with Tombow water-based markers. In fact, I used only one marker to base all of the green elements. And even though it was based with all one colour, by adding shading over the top with my polychromos, I was able to get subtle differences within all the greenery on the page. Also, side note, polychromos work wonderfully on this paper as well. For the sky, I used Neocolor 2 to create a sunset. I did want to add a bit more colour onto this page, so I chose oranges for the sky instead of blues. Again, another page with kind of an autumnal feel this month. I love colouring autumnal pages and using autumnal palettes. I use them all year round. I also use a Jelly Roll metallic pen to cover the sun rays up here, the KJ Designed by Karen metallic paint for the sun, and the other large golden orbs, which I never know if these things are meant to be planets. They're on so many of Melpomene's pages, and I'm like, are these supposed to be little planets, little comets? So I just kind of, on that page, just made them all gold. I'm trying to find another page that I did with them, because I did colour them like planets on another page. Why can't I find it? It's in here somewhere. So many uncoloured pages. I thought I coloured a lot in this book. I can't find it. Anyway, I coloured them all gold so they would sort of all blend in to the page. I've used Tulia paint pans in a pink colour, so from the pink and red set I think it was, to cover the black lines on some of the clouds. There's white Signo as well, quite a lot of white Signo for the highlights. And what else? Oh, the Kaisercraft shimmer spray on the background in gold as well. So I'll just sort of tip that up and hopefully you can see some of that shimmer. And that is also the KJ Design by Karen paint in gold, and that you can see on the fire as well. And I think that is it. So that was Circle of Life by Mythomorphia Chatspanagotto. Next up we have R.J. Hampson's A Frog's Tale, and I finally got around to colouring the Promenade page, which I have been promising for months now. And do I need to zoom you all out? No, you can see that. So this was a highly requested video, which you can find in my beginners playlist, and it was all about alcohol markers, basing with alcohol markers. I talked through all the basics, the who, what, why, and I coloured the entire page on that video as well, so you can follow along too if you wish. Now I did use a whole bunch of mediums on this page. Although it is mostly alcohol marker basing with Prismas on top, I did have to use 3 different brands of alcohol markers to get the colours that I needed. I used my Ohuhu Honolulu 48 set. Now I am aiming to add to my Ohuhu collection as probably my first choice for alcohol markers, but because I didn't have too many colours to choose from, I also used my Artex Oros set, which is a pastel set. And I also used my Spectrum Noir tri-blends as well, just to fill in the gaps for the colour choices that I didn't have in the Honolulu 48 set. And of course, like I mentioned, I went over the top with my Prismas to add some depth to the elements. Now for the sky, I used Arteza Soft Pastels with my trusty cloud stencil, which is linked in my Amazon store down below. And for the ground here, I used the King Art gel sticks. A new favourite medium of mine. They're so quick to use and they blend really nicely as well, although I will talk about that on another page because I did use them on another page later this month as well. So there's Wink of Stella on the wings of the bugs, Jelly Roll Glaze for the body of the bugs, including on the ladybug or ladybird over here. There's also a little bit of sparkle pop on their outfits in the colour gold, and also on the centre of the flowers here as well, and some white Signo as well, mostly just to cover the white lines on their outfits, the black lines on their outfits. I always go to say cover the white lines. I'm losing it. So that is A Frog's Tale by R.J. Hampson. Next up, I have another R.J. Hampson book, and that is his new book, Mountain King. I absolutely love this book, and there is a book review up on my channel as well as a colour along for this page too. So the page I chose to colour first in this book was Hidden Valley. I love this page the moment I saw it. In fact, I think this book might just be my favourite of RJ's so far. So this page was also based with alcohol markers, and I love just how bold and vibrant you can get your pages when you base with alcohol markers. I feel like this page reminds me of something out of a cartoon or maybe an animated movie. So I was trying to choose bright colours to mimic that vibe. Everything was based with my Ohuhu markers except for the water and the skin tone as well. So for them, I used my Spectrum Noir tri-blends. And then I've shaded everything with Prismacolor pencils on top. I left the sky mostly the deep blue of the alcohol marker. I love the effect, so I didn't add too much shade into it. It's rare for me to use such a bold, flat color for a sky, but I think if I had done it differently, the page just wouldn't look as animated and cartoony as I was going for, and it would have changed the whole effect of the page. So I think the deep blue really suits the boldness and brightness of the page. And And I've also used extreme glitter over the top of the unicorn manes and the feathers to add a little bit of sparkle to the page. There's a little jelly roll metallic in gold, and we've got sparkle pop in this, I don't know if that's the blue or the purple. Might be because the purple changes to blue and the blue changes to green, so I think that might be the purple, perhaps. And then we've got white signo for the sea foam, outlining our crystals, and of course on top of the mountains as well. And then we have, we've got some Jelly Roll glaze as well for our unicorn horns. And then we've got the KJ design by Karen paint in the colour golden, like we have on nearly all of our pages this month. But look at the shine. And I love the extreme glitter. So that's extreme glitter hologram. So, you know, it goes on clear and the glitter changes to match the colour of whatever's underneath. So pretty. So that is our first page from Mountain King by R.J. Hampson. Okay, so next up I have Mythomorphia by Kirby Roseanne's. This is actually my second copy of this book. I did accidentally purchase the US copy originally many years ago, and after I did the troll colour along, it did fall apart. So I went back and got myself a UK edition, my trusty UK editions. They never fall apart on me. And the page I coloured was the Kieran page. Now, I wasn't sure what I was going to do with this page. I was trying to decide on a colour palette, and when I'm doing that, I will sit here with a bit of paper and just sort of scribble different ideas down. And my daughter was watching and asked me if I could make it pink. And I mean, how could I possibly say no? So I don't use pink a lot in my pages. If you haven't noticed already, it's not a colour that I lean towards. If I'd asked my son, he would have said red or green. Red or green I can work with. They're always the two options he gives me when I ask him, but pink it was. I was not sure how I was going to make it pink though. I did toss around some thoughts on making the Kieran all pink with maybe a green background to make it more like a forest, or maybe some dark blues and purples to make it look a bit spooky. Then I decided, or so I thought, I was going to make him pink and blue with either a pink background or a blue background. Think pretty pink, blue, My Little Pony type colours. That was what was in my head at that time. So I did the pink background and I didn't like it. I know a lot of people did like this background, but at the time when I coloured it, I didn't like it. I was kind of stuck. I just wasn't feeling the colour palette, and this page did end up taking a lot longer than it should, mostly for that reason. I just didn't like the initial direction of the page and how it was heading with that background. So I kind of just ignored the page and didn't colour for a little bit, kept coming back and just kept looking at it going, it's not right. There's just something not right. And I thought I better just keep continuing with it and see where it goes. I started colouring the Kieran with that rich pink colour combo, and I did start to think the page was salvageable after all. And because of the creamy tones I've used in the background here, I did decide to bring them through to the Kieran's body instead of using blues. I didn't want to introduce too many colours. And after that, I decided to make everything pink and gold tones. And in the end, I actually love the final result. So despite my frustrations and my disappointments, which we all go through when colouring pages sometimes, I'm so glad I just kept going with it. I just had to get through what I'm going to call it ugly phase, I guess, just to get to an end result which I actually love, and I'm really happy with the colour palette. Most importantly, my daughter loves it, so I am happy that I persisted. If it wasn't for her wanting a pink page, I may have put it aside and forgotten about it for a while. It could have become a long-term whip. I actually don't have any long-term whips. I am a bit stubborn, so it probably wouldn't have happened. But I persevered and I really like it. After all of that, so maybe I was just going through a mood, but yeah, and I have used more pink since colouring this page as well. So the background was Neo Colour too, and can I just say they were also performing a little bit funny on this paper. They weren't working for me as well as they normally do in Kirby books, so I don't know if this paper is different. It doesn't feel real different, and my Prismas went down just as well as they normally do though, so I don't know. The Neo Colours was just like I've put 2 coats down, you can still see the white of the paper coming through. Normally when I put 2 coats down, it's really bold and really vibrant. Probably worked better this way with the white showing through. I think if it was really bright pink, it might have maybe not like it as much. So it probably worked out for the best, but I don't know why it did that. I'll have to try it on another page in this book and see what happens with the paper. Anyway, I'm rambling again. I've also used my KJ Designs by Karen paint once again on all the scales here and here on our treasure chest. I've also used on these little reeds as well, that sort of magenta colour. I'll lift it up so you can have a look. There's our little sparkly Kieran. And then you can hopefully see that magenta. I think that colour is called Gerbera off the top of my head. You can see that sparkle as well. Of course, you can see the Kaiser Craft Gold Shimmer Spray in the background as well. And we have, did I use Toolie Art? The white is the Toolie Art paint pens. Did I use anything else? That's it. Yep. So that is our Kieran page from Mythomorphia by Kirby Roseanne's. I almost said Animorphia. There is an Animorphia page coming very soon. Okay. In this video, I mean, not a colour along. Maybe one day. Next up, we have Fairy Miracles by Clara Markova, and this was a new book for me this month, sent across to me by the lovely Eva, and I did ask Eva if she would like to choose a page from the book for a colour along, and this is the page that she chose here. I had so much fun with this page. I didn't really have any colour palette in mind when I started. The background was actually the hardest part for me to choose, and because it is the biggest part of this page, I really wanted it to set the tone. So I wanted to choose that first. And I did feel like it was an indoor page, like he's cooking inside the house. So I wanted something to suit walls and floors, but I wanted something bold as well that would draw attention to the other elements rather than like a grey wall or something like that. So I ended up going with this warm brown colour. And I figure this fairy house might be inside a tree stump or a toadstool, so the brown kind of fitted for me. And then I just worked the elements around that whilst trying not to bring through too many colours. So I stayed within the brown, yellow, red family, added in some green and some blue as well. And I'm pretty sure, so I did put a poll up on Instagram at whether these were chestnuts or not. I'm pretty sure they are. I did think they were giant chestnuts, but then people did remind me that these are fairies. So the chestnut is actually probably a normal size, and we've just got a teeny tiny fairy here with a normal size spoon by the looks of things as well. Now, everything was coloured with Albrecht Dürers, both activated and dry. I was planning on using them just to base, and then using my polychromos over the top of the elements. But after doing the background, so the background I was always going to do just with the Albrecht Dürers. I really liked the beautiful finish from the pencil, so I decided to keep going with just the Albrecht Dürers for the rest of the page as well. I don't normally enjoy the look of watercolour pencils when used dry, which is why I do tend to go over the top with my polys instead. That's just what I prefer personally, but I love them on this paper just on their own. So that was a first for me. Actually, my Clara Markova postcards, I've used them just on their own as well. Normally, I will go over the top with polychromos. But yeah, so this is all based with Albrecht Dürers, activated, and then dry over the top as well. And there's actually not that much else on this page. We do have some sparkle pop in silver on some of the details. And up here as well, we've got white. Is this white Signo? Yes, it's white Signo. I'm just checking what I wrote down. Some Wink of Stella on the teapot there. And we've got our Pen Touch Gold in that fireplace too. Oh, look, I forgot the little heart on his hat. Oh, I'm going to have to go colour that. Oh. I might just make it, what colour am I going to make it? I might make it the same colour as Boots. I'm going to have to do that now when I finish this video so I don't forget. Yeah, so Albrecht Dürers, Sparkle Pop, White Signo, and the Pen Touch Gold and the Winker Stella and a missing end to his hat. So I'm going to go colour that after I finish this video. That is Fairy Miracles by Clara Markova. Next up is a page in our full book colour along, Rooms of Wonder by Joanna Basford. And I chose to do the origami room. Now, this is obviously our full book colour along, but I don't think the video will be up before this video. So here is your sneak peek. I probably need to iron this page as well. So it should be up in the next day or two. Yeah, very soon. So this page was again out of my comfort zone a little bit. We have more pink and I was trying to create a softer look as well, which I don't do very often. This was also another page that took way longer than it needed to. I didn't colour for a few days because I wasn't liking the results of this page again. So that's happened to me a few times this month. So I'm thinking it might be just a me problem. Maybe it's just, I don't know. I think it's just a me problem because I do really enjoy the end results. It's just the process. I'm like, oh, I don't like this. Not all my pages, but some of them. So it's just one of those months, I think. I'm rambling again. What was I saying? Oh, okay. So about halfway through, I hit a turning point with this page and I really enjoyed colouring it and I really like how it turned out. Originally, I was going to use gold paint to create a gold border and I was thinking of making gold circular borders around these little elements here just so they'd match, and I may still do that for this page, but clearly I didn't do that here. I just wanted to keep it a bit more simple, and I was using my ruler and I made a little bit of a mistake there, but it's not so noticeable, I don't think. And for this page I also used my Albrecht-Dürers, both activated and dry. Wish I'd used my polys instead. I do still have all the pencils pulled out. They're all on my desk next to me here, as I am planning on using a matching palette for this page. I'm just not sure whether I'm going to be using the Albrecht-Dürers or my polys, or maybe even a combination of both, but we shall see. I will use the same colours, just maybe not the same pencils, but either way, if you're following along, you can use polys or Albrecht-Dürers, either one. Or you could use a different pencil brand if you use my colour pencil conversion chart. So I also used King Art gel sticks for the walls and the floor. There is so much Toolie Art paint pan in white on this page and a bunch of different jelly rolls too. So we've got Stardust, Metallic, I think that's it. We've got some Sparkle Pop in silver as well. And I think that is it for that page. Yeah, so we might be doing this one next, I think, so we can match them. So that is Rooms of Wonder by Joanna Basford, and I need to go iron that out so I can take a photo for the video. Okay, next up. Last but not least, we have a page from Animorphia by Kirby Rosannes. Now, this is not a colour along on the channel, and technically it's the nameplate page, but Kirby's nameplates are so busy usually that I'm still counting it as a completed page and my very first in this book. This was my one and only untouched Kirby book, except for maybe some of the compilation books, but my one and only untouched Kirby. It's been sitting on my shelf for years and I'm really happy to have finally completed a page and put some colour to this book after all that time. And I'm really happy with this page as well. I love the colour palette. I really enjoyed colouring it as well. I was going for a soft spring palette and I did use my extreme glitter hologram on some of the doodles and the wings and the butterfly wings here as well, which has turned my purple into a fluoro pink. Not the first time I've made that error and likely not the last, but other than my fluoro pink butterflies, I still think it's cute. And I used Arteza soft pastels for the background. Everything else is Prismacolor pencils. There's a bit of white Signo. There's a little bit of Jelly Roll Metallic just on the center of the flowers. That's it, I think. Oh, and some Shimmer Mist, the Imagine Crafts one on the background as well, just to make it sparkle a little bit. So I don't know if it's going to catch. That one's really fine, so it's really hard to show up on the camera. But I shall try and see if that shows up. So that was it for the month of August. Now, I didn't do an August plans video, and I don't think I'm going to be doing one for September either. I am going away a couple of times this month. I also have family visiting soon as well. My kids have their semester assessments, and then school holidays will also be starting again closer to the end of the month. So it is going to be fairly crazy this month. I do get a lot of DMs ask me when the next colour along is going to be going up on the channel, or what will the next colour along be, and I have no idea this month. There will obviously be some pages from Rooms of Wonder. I do have a buddy colour coming in Small Victories. I'd love to do another Kirby page. I have a couple of new books coming this month, which I like the colour in, and too many others that I want to colour in too. So watch this space, and on that note, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Happy colouring, take care, and I'll see you all soon. Bye for now.